A Latin America analyst joins us now live from London. Can you just tell us in more detail about these reforms and why so many people are protesting at the moment?
Basically, he's asking this like 200 articles of what they call the basis law, which is many concessions that the government wants to make in terms of managing the economy. Now, one of the most controversial ones is now Article 1, which is that giving the executive, that means the president and his cabinet, special powers to deal with issues related to the administration of the state, finance, and energy. Now, he mentioned in the initial proposal mentioned 11 emergencies. It was reduced after negotiation, it was reduced to only 4. That means that the power that the executive will have will be limited. At the same time, he wants to reduce the subsidies for certain public institutions, and he wants to actually dissolve them. Again, in this particular case, he had to make a concession and stop that particular issue in his proposal. Again, he wanted to privatize some of the public services like Aerolíneas Argentinas, which is the national airline, and radio and television, the public broadcasters, as well as the postal office. The concession he made was that he will not privatize this institution. Basically, what he wants is full powers, a lot of powers to deal with the economic situation in Argentina. His main aim when he became president was to reduce inflation. He has not achieved that to the level that he wanted to do that. They expected that inflation will go down to single figures in the next few months, but not as fast as he wanted to do that. So he wants all these powers, and the opposition have refused to accept that. However, he's had to make certain concessions. For example, in the case of investment in public works, he decided to continue this investment up to 80% of the finance in order to get the votes from certain regions, which depend very much on this particular subsidies, this particular investment. At the same time, he has increased the levy, which is the tax that benefits regions with their mining activities, from 3 to 5%. So he was full powers, but also after a lot of negotiations, he's been watering down the initial proposal that he made. And at the moment, the Senate is debating the issue, and they will go to the deputies' chamber for approval. They expect to get the 38 to 37 votes required to pass the laws. But at the moment, we don't know whether he's going to have to make more concessions to have all these laws passed in the Senate and later in the chamber, in the deputies' chamber.
And Javier, the new measures would include declaring a state of economic emergency. What
Yes.
do you think's been going wrong in Argentina for so long for it to get to this point?
High inflation, corruption, bad administration of the public services, bad energy policies. They have not been able to invest in the energy sector. This has created, and also when he took over earlier this year, he found huge inflation. So that's what and the inflation has been the main problem, and high unemployment, a huge increase in poverty. Now, the problem is that some of the measures he wanted to take has actually increased poverty, because he's not being able to fight inflation, which has increased the prices of basic produce for the population. So there's an increase in poverty, an increase which he was supposed to fight by cutting down inflation. So what's gone wrong in Argentina was that all governments were inefficient in terms of the way they managed the state, inefficient in terms of the way they managed the economy, and he came out with some radical, in a way, many ways, far-right solutions, which many people disapprove, especially trade unions. So he's been trying, again, to reduce inflation. He's managed to do it slowly, but not as fast as he wanted to do. And that could be a big problem for him, because he will lose a lot of support from many of the people who actually voted for him because they wanted change and something different from what they had before he was elected.
Time will tell if he can bring inflation down further. Javier Farje,
Indeed.
thank you for joining us.